The human mind is a complex movement of thoughts, memories, desires, fears, and identities. It is not a thing but a flow, a continuous river of psychological patterns shaped by time, culture, education, and experiences. The first fact about the mind is that it always seeks security, whether in a job, a relationship, a belief, or an identity. It clings to what is familiar, even if it causes suffering, because the unknown creates fear. The second fact is that the mind is addicted to pleasure and avoids pain. This creates a cycle of craving and disappointment. For example, when someone praises us, the mind wants more of that feeling, and when someone criticizes us, it wants to escape or retaliate. This tug of war keeps it restless. The third truth is that the mind compares continuously. It cannot remain content. Whether it's wealth, looks, or success, it keeps measuring itself against others. This comparison breeds jealousy, inferiority, and pride. A man who sees his neighbor buying a new car suddenly feels inadequate, not because he needs a car, but because he cannot stand being left behind. The fourth secret is that the mind creates a false center, the I. This I is nothing but a bundle of thoughts, memories, roles, and expectations. It is not a real entity, but an illusion born out of identification. A student identifies with marks, an actor with fame, a mother with her child. But these are changing, so when they shift or vanish, the I feels lost. The fifth fact is that the mind thrives on conflict between what is and what should be. It is always dissatisfied with the present and projects ideals for the future. For instance, someone may be in a job but dream of a passion-based career, and until that happens, they suffer, not realizing that their suffering is in the resistance to what is, not in the job itself. The sixth truth is that intelligence is not the mind's accumulation of knowledge. Real intelligence is the light of awareness, the ability to see facts without distortion. A person who watches his anger without trying to suppress or justify it is being intelligent. Intelligence is not cleverness. It is clarity without ego. The seventh understanding is that the mind is shaped by memory, and memory is always of the past. So, when one lives in the mind, one never lives in the present. A man who was cheated in love 10 years ago still carries that pain and projects it on every new relationship. He never sees the new person. He only sees his wound. The eighth insight is that the mind creates expectations in relationships. It believes that the other must behave in a certain way to make it feel secure or loved. But the other person also has their own mind, with its own desires and wounds. Expecting someone to act exactly how you wish is like expecting the wind to blow only in your direction. Disappointment becomes inevitable. The ninth fact is that the mind seeks fulfillment outside, in people, possessions, success. But this is an endless chase. One desire leads to another. You get a job, then a promotion, then a house, and still the mind feels empty. It is because what it really seeks is not out there. It wants peace, clarity, and meaning. These are not given by others. They arise from understanding oneself. The 10th and most vital truth is that understanding is the only transformation. No technique, no meditation, no practice works unless there is understanding. And understanding comes through observing the mind silently, not judging, not resisting, just seeing. Just like you watch a movie and understand the characters, you can watch your thoughts, reactions, and patterns. That silent watching is awareness, and it is through awareness that change happens. Not through effort, not through motivation, but through seeing. For example, if you see how your expectations ruin your peace, you naturally drop them. You don't have to force it. To live fully is to live without the burden of the past and the fear of the future. It means meeting each moment with fresh eyes, without the filters of memory, identity, or fear. The mind usually lives in two places. It regrets what happened or worries about what may happen. But life is only happening now. When you drink tea, just drink tea. When you walk, just walk. When you speak to someone, listen without preparing your reply. This simple attentiveness transforms life. A person stuck in the past may appear alive but is mentally absent. Living fully means being present in whatever you do, however small it may be. Washing dishes can be meditation if the mind is not wandering. The key to such living is understanding the nature of the mind. One must realize that the mind is like a screen. Whatever is shown on it is temporary. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Nothing stays. So, don't attach your sense of self to any thought or emotion. When sadness arises, let it come. Watch it like a cloud passing the sky. Don't say, "I am sad," just say, "There is sadness." This shift in language changes everything. It brings space between the observer and the observed. That space is where intelligence operates. Most of our suffering comes from identifying with the content of the mind. A man loses his job and starts thinking, "I am a failure." But the job is gone, not his worth. If he can see that thought as just a thought, not the truth, he remains free. Relationships are the biggest mirrors for the mind's expectations. A person expects their partner to be kind, present, attentive, but does not see how they themselves are absent, distracted, or projecting. No one can meet all your inner needs. When you expect others to complete you, you turn love into a contract. Real relationship begins when two people meet without demands. When you no longer expect, you are free to love. It's not that you will never feel hurt, but that hurt won't turn into bitterness. Understanding this requires maturity, not age, but awareness. Maturity is to see clearly what the mind wants and ask, is this real? The mind wants recognition, security, pleasure, control, but none of these bring lasting peace. One must question everything the mind seeks. This questioning is not negative. It is cleansing. It reveals what is false and leaves behind what is true. A mind that questions deeply becomes quiet. Not dull, but silent. That silence is intelligence. From this silence, action flows naturally, not as reaction but as right response. Suppose you see someone insulting you. The habitual mind reacts with anger, but a silent mind watches and understands. The insult is just a word, a projection of the other's pain. Why take it personally? This seeing ends conflict. Life becomes light, not heavy. This is what it means to be free. Not to escape life, but to meet it without baggage. Don't suppress your emotions, but don't become them either. Let them pass. Don't hold people responsible for your happiness. Don't make your peace dependent on their actions. Understand yourself so deeply that no external situation can shake your inner clarity. Then relationships become joyful, work becomes play, and life becomes a dance. Not because things are perfect, but because your mind is no longer caught in expectations, illusions, or reactions. You begin to live from understanding, not from habit. That is true intelligence, not what you know, but how clearly you see. And clarity is born from awareness, not thought. In this awareness, the I loses its grip. What remains is a presence, a quiet beingness that needs no label, no approval. Just life, flowing, free, and awake. Paragraph 3, 5,000 words. The mind, when not understood, becomes the biggest obstacle to freedom, joy, and clarity. It constantly divides life into opposites, success and failure, good and bad, right and wrong, and then becomes trapped in choosing, resisting, and fearing. This endless judgment creates inner tension, but life is not a problem to be solved. It is a mystery to be observed. The more you try to fix life with thought, the more tangled you become. Look at how the mind functions when you fail in an exam or lose a job. Instantly it labels you as worthless and you begin to live from that label. But the event is neutral. It is the mind's interpretation that creates the suffering. The same mind that makes you feel inferior also makes someone else feel superior, based on imagined standards. Understanding this game is liberation. The mind is deeply conditioned by society, education, religion, and personal experience. It is full of borrowed knowledge and second-hand beliefs. A child is born without any belief, but slowly he absorbs ideas about caste, religion, race, success, gender, pride, and these become walls in the mind. These walls are unseen, but they dictate every action and thought. A man who believes he must always win becomes afraid of failure. A woman who believes she must please everyone loses her real voice. These beliefs are not reality, they are cages. To see this clearly is to take the first step toward freedom. In daily life, most conflicts come from these hidden beliefs. If a person values pride, any insult will trigger anger. If a person values control, any uncertainty will bring anxiety. But if one watches these movements silently, without trying to fix them, something beautiful happens. Observation brings understanding, and understanding dissolves the false. You don't have to fight the mind, you only have to see it clearly. That seeing is transformative. For instance, a person addicted to scrolling social media is not weak. They are simply unaware of the craving for distraction. Once this craving is understood, the attachment drops naturally. There's no need for force. Real change is effortless when it comes through awareness. The I that we speak of all day, I want, I hate, I love, I suffer, is not a solid self. It is a bundle of thoughts, memories, identifications, and fears. Every time you say I, ask yourself, what am I really referring to? The body, the name, the thoughts, the story? All these are constantly changing. So, how can I be real? The I exists only in thought. When thought is silent, where is the I? This is not a philosophy, it is an experiment to observe. Try sitting silently and watching the gap between two thoughts. You will find peace. Not because you did something, but because in the absence of thought, the false self disappears. And in that stillness, there is no fear, no comparison, no ambition, just presence. This is not withdrawal from the world, but a deeper engagement with it. When the I is absent, action becomes pure. You help someone not for praise, but from love. You work not to prove yourself, but to express your energy. Relationships change when the I dissolves. There is no longer a desire to dominate or possess. Love becomes freedom, not a cage. For example, two friends who don't expect each other to always be available will never feel betrayed. They understand that everyone is living their own journey. They meet without need, and such meeting has beauty. Most of our pain in love comes from expecting the other to fill our emptiness. But no one can do that. That emptiness is created by the mind's illusion of separation from others, from nature, from life itself. When this illusion is seen, the emptiness disappears. One begins to feel whole, not because anything was added, but because nothing is missing. Living fully means being present, being aware, being open to whatever comes, pain or pleasure, failure or success, loneliness or connection. Nothing is permanent. Let every experience come and let it go. Don't hold, don't resist, don't identify. This inner freedom is the essence of intelligence. Intelligence is not about being correct all the time. It is about being conscious, flexible, and rooted in truth. The more you understand the mind, the less it controls you. The more you watch it, the quieter it becomes. And in that quietness, real life begins. In conclusion, the key to inner freedom, real intelligence, and deep relationships lies in understanding the mind, not controlling it, but observing it silently. When one stops identifying with thoughts, expectations, and the false I, a natural clarity emerges. In this clarity, life is no longer a struggle, it becomes a flow. Awareness replaces reaction, love replaces need, and presence replaces fear. This is how one begins to live fully, by seeing clearly without resistance and allowing each moment to unfold as it is.